Welcome in everyone and welcome back to the channel. I'm AC Kingpin 27 with you today. It's time for another episode of King's Corner. We're going to send Titan into the corner tonight, so I'm joined as always by my cohort in crime, Fighting Titan. What's good, Titan?
What is good, brother?
How are you, man?
How are you?
I'm doing well.
I'm doing really well.
So before we get started, we all know the first question of the night. Before we do any intros or anything, what you drinking tonight?
All right, so I've got a Dr. Enough. It's served in a glass bottle, right? The plastic gives it a weird taste. You got to have it in a glass bottle.
Okay.
It's like a really smooth, a little bit sweeter with a bite at the end version of Sprite, a little bit thicker, a little bit sweeter. Taste-wise, it's not actually thicker. And
Okay.
it's bottled locally in like East Tennessee, North Carolina. Doesn't
Okay.
extend out too far. It's something you'd find at like if you went to a specialty shop that had the different drinks from like around the country, novelty type stuff.
Right. Oh man, that sounds
So
delish.
yeah,
That sounds delicious.
so
So I'm rocking the Orange Blossom Pilsner from Orange Blossom Brewing Company here in Orlando. We got a
ooh,
honey orange Pilsner tonight, so that's what we're rocking here, right out the can,
that
straight out the
sounds
can,
nice.
straight out the can, baby. So if you guys are new to the stream, what we're running here is a podcast style stream called King's Corner. So I'm AC Kingpin 27. As always, the co-host here is Fighting Titan, and what we do is we talk about anything and everything here on the channel. We've talked, NFL predictions, kind of a college football overview. We're bringing in some smaller streamers to kind of sit with us and run the gamut and sit in the corner, have the light shine on them, and answer questions for all of you. But today, we're going to talk old school video game consoles and games, but more importantly, our individual favorites. So this is something near and dear to my heart. I'm very excited for this. If y'all are watching here live on Twitch, thank you so much for joining. Appreciate y'all being here. If y'all are watching the YouTube video, thank you so much. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the series. Be sure to drop a like on the video and make sure you guys smash that subscribe button and hit that bell notification for more content here on the channel. But old school video games, Titan. So we've kind of touched on this in earlier videos, in earlier episodes of our series here. I think we know kind of where we both started, but give them a little preview on a little backstory on your affinity for video games.
It was one of those things where, growing up, it was more at friends' houses or going to stay with family, right? So
Right.
I think having it be that special rare treat, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really developed that affinity, right? And then, I was very fortunate to have some friends like on the 64 who, mom let a couple people come over, ordered pizza, you had the
Yep.
Coke or the Pepsi, or
Yep.
because it's the South, really Dr. Pepper, right? Because that's like
Right.
blood out there. And, right, so hang a bag for me, Earl. Yeah. And, doing the classic, some four-player
Yep.
GoldenEye,
Yep.
running around with what you thought were the greatest graphics ever.
Right.
Now it looks like everyone looks like a polygonal King Kong
Right.
nowadays
Yeah,
when
you're
you look
right.
at it. But that was cutting edge back then. Those were some of the best days. So that kind of got me started.
So I mean, I started with the NES. Didn't really play too much of it. Everybody's kind of had the Metroids, the Mario's, the Zeldas, that type of thing. My love and really blossomed during with the Genesis. I mean, same era. Excuse me, but I had a Genesis because of my mother's boyfriend at the time. Um, and I had a local used video game store up the street and a paper route. So I was swapping games as a kid all the time. So my love and really the passion for gaming really started then, and then it kind of moved in those junior high years to the PC when Medal of Honor dropped. My dad my
Ooh.
dad really got into it. I really got into World War II shooters. They still to this day, are kind of my go-to for shooters. World War II shooters are near and dear to my heart just because I can throw it back to playing with my dad. So, but that's kind of where my love started. So, we got some comments in the chat. Limp says he loves Slugfest and Twisted Metal on the PC, bro. Those were amazing
Oh,
games. Amazing
Twisted Metal
games.
2. That's a great game, Limp. Twisted Metal 2 was probably one of my favoriteest games at all time, if that's not a word,
So,
for PlayStation. I think I played through every character. I don't know how many times with Warthog being my favorite. Warthog or Thumper? It's
so
hard
is there
hard
is
to
there a
explain.
certain genre of game that kind of draws you into play that you will go to time and time again? Is it sports? Is it like them first person shooters? Is it those adventure games? Is there something that pulls you, or is it just kind of random things?
It's really, I've always been a huge sports fan, right? Because it's
Right,
just one of those things that updates regularly, unlike Grand Theft Auto 5,
right,
right? It's released and remastered. You changed nothing, and it's been a decade. Stop it, Rockstar.
right, right.
Um, I love and everything you mentioned. You know, um, the whole Nathan Drake series, right?
Oh, Uncharted,
Twisted
yes.
Metal was great. Uncharted. Sports. Absolutely loving, especially like the first long shot, right?
Yep.
With so stuff like that. RPGs. I love my Final Fantasy. There's not a whole lot that I don't
So
enjoy.
there's nothing that
Um,
really draws you in. You're kind of just playing a little bit of everything, right?
a good game draws me in, right?
So
That's
no,
that's what I
I
hope for
can
is a good
I can
game.
honestly sit back and respect that because as a kid, man, I was really into sports, playing sports. So gaming to me became sports, right? With the Genesis,
Yeah.
you had World Series baseball, you had Madden, you had prime time football, we had NBA Jam. So like NHL '94, like I played all those classics that we all know and love today, that we all want throwbacks to. NFL Blitz, I played all those growing up, and I for a long time only played sports games. And I think the genre that really set me and started me playing these other games was that PS3 era. I started getting into the Uncharted series, games like that. Tomb Raiders, I played Tomb Raiders on the PC for a long time growing up because I loved the story of those games. Um, I was a big racing fan when we had the computer. I had a joystick, a steering wheel. I played NASCAR 95 and 98. Like I'm throwing it way back to the Windows 95
Yeah,
dial-up
you sure
PC
are.
area, bro. So kind of it's always been sports for me. It's always been that go-to, but I do love to just sit and enjoy a good story and play through a good story. I have all the Uncharted games still on every system they've ever released on. I will never get rid of those discs. Those are go-tos for me just to sit back, relax, and have a great time. Um, so it's kind of a mix for me between sports and those kind of adventure solo, adventure games. You know what I mean? And
No,
and and
absolutely.
Limp says it right. He says, "Don't forget about Duke Nukem." How can you forget about
Oh,
Doom and Duke Nukem, bro?
Duke Nukem.
Well,
But it's only the one Duke Nukem. Everything after the one was crap. Everything
yeah.
before it was awful. But the one where you're going in the strip club and you're pressing triangle and you're seeing the hexagonal 2D everything. But the catchphrases, there was something just glorious
Limp
about
is agreeing with you
just
100% right now.
there's just something glorious about like taking the shotgun and you're just blowing something in half and Duke Nukem's like, let
See,
God
so
sort him
so
out,
so I
in
played
his
Duke
Duke
Nukem
Nukem
once.
voice.
I never really played
Yeah.
Duke Nukem. I was a Doom, but I played a lot of Wolfenstein. I played a lot of the OG Wolfenstein. That was kind of my love. Everybody has that. They all have Duke Nukem. I have that BJ Blazkowicz type thing. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I can respect that. Okay, so now that you're kind of sitting here on the next gen console, you're sitting on a PS5. I'm sitting on a PS5. We're gaming pretty much every night. Excuse me, meeting people from all over the world. That's got to be the one thing I'm loving about streaming and running this podcast is you and I are interacting with community that is international, right? We're having a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love getting to know the community and bringing people around. Um, but is there a system that to you is far and above any system you've ever played that is near and dear to your heart? Your favorite, your OG?
So for me, I'd say for me, if we're going like OG, um, I think the most memorable, the probably the happiest I've been consistently playing a system. If we're talking about older systems,
And this could be anything,
actually,
bro. You could say
yeah.
the PS4 is your favorite because of the I want to
For
know your legit favorite.
it's a tie between the 5 and the Nintendo 64.
Wait, the five's up there this high?
I love well because of what you
Wow.
got because of what it can do, right?
Okay, I got you.
I'm
I can respect
looking
that.
we're looking forward, right?
Okay, yep, I can respect that.
Looking forward. But still number one for me has got to be the 64, right? The
Absolutely.
WWF, the or 2K, the black, the black cartridge.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
Yep.
that one you had the better Mario Kart, you had GoldenEye. Um, there's just
Star
so many
Fox. You had everything back then,
so
bro.
so many good games. right? And the wrestling was the best, right? Just because
Oh yeah,
you can,
what would they
because
have?
that was the
WrestleMania
first, if
2000, WCW,
yeah,
NWO Revenge. Yeah,
yeah, I think the WrestleMania 2000 was my absolute one of my favorite games, just because up until that time as a kid, that was in the prime of like Stone Cold and The Rock and The
yep,
Undertaker and Triple
yep,
H and all those wrestling
yep.
guys, and that was the first game where you could give them all of the finishers as their regular moves, right?
Correct.
So you can stunner, you can rock bottom, you can do all those things just on with the one create a character, and then you can just keep beating them against the turn post.
Yep. Yep. Nope. I'm 100% with you. So I loved WCW NWO Revenge because I could create stables. I could use, Hollywood Hulk Hogan in the black and white, but I could also use Hulk Hogan. I could do the same thing with Macho Man, instant. Like I was a WCW nerd. So to me, the WCW NWO Revenge holds that place in my heart. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
but for me, I'm similar to you. I've kind of got two sitting up there. I've got the Genesis because there was so many. If you sit back and think about all of the
Oh
games that
goodness.
were available for you to play.
Golden Axe, Vector
I
Man,
mean, we had
just
Echo the
Techno
Dolphin,
Bowl,
you had Tecmo Ball, you had
Sonic,
Par-
Mortal
Par-
Kombat 2.
Parasite Eve got its start on the Genesis. Back in that's how
Yeah.
they kind of developed the story was from an old Genesis game. Um, like I sit there and I miss sometimes just turning the system on, playing a game, and when you lose, bro. Like I'm talking Disney's Aladdin and Disney's The Lion King. How many times did you stay up at night? Did you get to a point where you hadn't beat, but you had a ton of lives? So you paused the game, you shut your TV off, and you went to bed. And the next morning, you got up and just played because if you shut that system off, you lost your save. How many
Oh
times did you do
goodness.
that?
Oh goodness. Man, I think every bit of rage I had as a child just about came from trying to play Aladdin or
Yeah,
Lion King.
so like to me, the Genesis holds that place in my heart because that's like I consider that my first system. I owned an NES. My cousin owned an Atari, and I got to play on it. But for me, the first system that was mine was definitely that Genesis. But I'm with you. I think in the second system, it's got to be the 64 because again, it opened up a different catalog of games for me. So I sat with the Sega, with the Genesis and all that stuff, and Road Rash,
Yeah.
and then the 64 opened up
Road
Banjo.
Rash.
The 64
So
opened up
good.
Banjo Kazooie and Super Mario 64 and Mario Kart, Diddy Kong Racing and GoldenEye. So like to me, I played a completely different style of game between the
NHL
two systems.
94.
Right. So
So good.
exactly. So between the two
So good.
systems, I was playing completely different games. So that's where, my affinity to find what I enjoy playing kind of started here. We sit here and we get Limp 11 says the PS2 because Need for Speed had him hooked, right? I can respect that. Hey, Crazy Taxi for the Dreamcast, bro. You remember that?
Yeah,
Short-lived
so
system, but a game that like I think everybody knows from the arcade versions.
yeah, that and 2K with Terrell Owens with the E and the Eagles on the
Yep,
front.
yep,
Those were probably the
yep.
two best games for Dreamcast.
And Mo throws it back to the Atari. So I mean, I had a
Yeah.
Sega Master
Yeah.
System. I had a Sega Master System that had Afterburner. I don't know if you remember Afterburner. If you went to the arcades, the
I
Afterburner
do.
arcade game was literally sitting in a cockpit, and the cockpit would pitch and yaw. It would nosedive. It would climb. You'd turn left, turn right. You'd feel it like that was. I played that in the arcade, and then found a
Oh
Sega
yeah.
Master System at a used game store for 20 bucks, bought it, and I bought this game for 20 bucks as a kid and loved every minute of playing that at my house because I had played the arcade game. So,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure which one of the amazing people kind of listening, watching, mentioned the PS2, but I think it really gets a third honorable mention because that for me is what opened up um, the enjoyment for RPGs, the Final Fantasy VII, the 8, when Parasite Eve actually came
see, I missed a lot on
onto
the
that
PS2.
system.
I missed a lot on
So,
that system.
yeah, the PS2 is probably that's where Twisted Metal. That's where I got into Twisted Metal, like you mentioned, Need for Speed. Oh, what was it? I don't know if it was 2 or 3. God, I'm getting twisted. I know the people keep me honest. Driver, You Are the Wheel Man.
Driver was
Um,
on the original PlayStation.
Driver. Well, they redid it
I played Driver
if
and
I'm not
Driver 2 on the
mistaken.
original PlayStation and loved those games, bro.
Yeah, those were so good because you were just a transporter
Yes.
out running cars. It was
Yes.
just that was so. And that's the games I wish that they would do for this system like the 5, because you could take Forza quality graphics
Well, I mean,
and you can add a kilo of Colombian nose sugar and
Colombian Bang
and just
Bang.
and just yeah and just have a time
So that
driving through.
I'm iffy about that because I don't know if you played it. The PS3 did have Driver 3 with updated graphics and a brand new game, and it wasn't good. It was not good at all. I mean, excuse me. My thing about remasters is if I loved playing it as a kid and it means that much and it holds a special place for me, I won't touch the remastered version because I don't want that ruined for me. You know what I mean? I don't want to look back and go, "Oh, you got rid of this. Oh, you got rid of that." Oh, no. That original version is kind of my kind of go-to.
I
Um,
I hear that.
I never
You
played
know,
around on the PS2. I had a PlayStation. I had a PS1. I got to play,
perfect.
a little bit of Tony Hawk, but I dabbled heavily in Dave Mirra. Dave
Yeah,
Mirra
Dave
was
Mirra
my
was good.
go-to.
Tony Hawk was amazing. Um, uh, Vice City, Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
Never played a Grand Theft
Abs-
Auto in my life.
oh, it was the Vice City was probably my favorite out of all of them.
I've never played a Grand
Um,
Theft Auto.
you're not missing too much.
I kind of
it's
always
pretty.
wanted to. I've just never played one.
Well, they're re-releasing it for the 5, and nothing's changed in a decade, so you can get the OG appreciation on the 5. Oh yeah, dude. But there's just so many
So then,
good
is there
games.
one game or one franchise as a whole that you say is just no matter what they do, no matter what they release, you will always get the game, always play the game, and always support the developer? Is there one game?
It's it's like the the girlfriend that keeps cheating on you, but you keep going back because you love her. It's got to be Madden and EA. As much as I hate
As much
EA,
as as much as we
as
dog
much as
EA, if you guys watched
curse
last
their
week's, if you
names.
guys are watching last week's Twitch stream, we cursed out EA left and right. I don't care if anybody
Oh
hears it, if anybody
God.
loves it, go back and watch it. I should have made clips of that,
Yeah.
but I have to
Totally.
admit, I have been playing Madden since Madden '94 on the Genesis. I have
Uh,
not missed a Madden except for
nope.
Madden 17 because of the aggressive catch cheese. Um,
Yep.
but I have that is yes, I'm with you that is this is the game, and this is kind of
Uh,
why it's the background for today's stream. This is the game
right.
that I will go back to because I'm going to spend the money. I'm actually going to get the hours played. I'm going to get to
Yeah.
play with friends. I'm going to get
Yeah.
now I'm getting to play with members of the Twitch community here.
Yeah.
I'm loving every minute of it.
Yeah.
So to me, it holds that nostalgia piece back in so back in Madden '95 where I could create my old Pee Wee Jets team, and I created all the players, and we were all 5'2", and we were 135 pounds because that was the max weight, and we were beating
Yeah.
up on the rest of the league, bro, because you could do that, right?
The annexation of Puerto Rico. I like it.
So
Yeah. The Go ahead.
is there a gimmick? Is there a gimmick game? And when I say gimmick, I mean like an NFL Blitz, an NBA Jam, um, MLB Backyard Kids, something like that. Is there anything that you kind of played that is up there
Yeah.
as well, or not really?
So I don't know about gimmick, but one thing I did want to mention for just transitioning is for me what really, really, really got me hooked was those great like 4 years with NCAA, like, and it ended in 2013, but NCAA, and because NCAA would come out in July, you'd have like a month to play, Madden would come out in August, and you could, and I've said this before, right, you could import the draft classes. You could make your
Yep,
own guy, and then you could draft yourself into the NFL before, long shot,
yep,
face of the franchise, whatever came out. And the best part was you didn't, if you played the game, you actually read the storylines,
yep,
especially in 13. You would know who to draft because you played against them, you
yep,
watched them.
yep.
I don't know how many times I'd snake a player in the fourth or fifth round, and that dude just had wheels for days because,
So I did that once. I
yeah,
remember, yeah, I remember buying a
so good.
used. I remember buying a used copy of NCAA football, literally just to play it one season and import a draft class, just so I knew who the draft class was and I could draft the best player. I do remember doing that. I'm
Yeah.
with you there.
So,
That's
so
awesome.
Gimmicking games, right? NBA Jam will always hold a special place just because there's something about a flaming slam dunk with a boom shakalaka that just jars your soul.
No, did you ever play NBA
Um,
Street?
I loved NBA
I
Street.
never played NBA Street or NFL Street for that matter. Never played either one
Oh,
of them.
NFL Street was solid. They just didn't do much with it. NBA Street, when it stayed
Yeah.
limited, was amazing.
Okay.
When it was really a pickup game and not like here's LeBron James. Just
Okay.
when
Okay.
Paul Pierce was the best player that you were going to start out with. That's when
Okay.
it was good.
Okay. So
That's when it was good.
so I have a couple questions for you.
Is this the corner?
They're not kind of rapid fire. They're kind of get your thoughts on series or
Sure, sure, sure,
developers and
sure.
kind of go from here. So if you could
It's
throw it
simple.
and if you could give a license to a developer and say you own the licenses for these major sports games, would you throw them to EA or would you throw them to 2K?
I would throw him to 2K. Heartbeat,
You'd give them
no questions asked.
exclusivity like EA has right now for NFL.
No, because competition drives ingenuity.
So you'd give both of them distribution
Yep.
rights to your NFL
Yep.
Players Association. Okay,
And
I
look
like
at
that.
that. The greedy owners can all make money. The players can all make double the money from the name,
They
image,
can all make
likeness.
money.
They can all make money, right? And the gamers benefit in the end, right? Because 2K was over the top, right? Because you could set your players' weekly, daily schedule, right? Like
Right.
I had the most sensitive, in touch with his feelings punter. That dude was always doing yoga, therapy, meditation. But old boy kick a 75-yard punt, you best believe,
Right,
right?
right.
Right? So, you know, you could do that, and it was that level of customization was great, but it was just too much. It was too much to manage for all your players.
Right.
Um, I think, a version where you take some form of that and that level of ingenuity, because that was way ahead of its time on Dreamcast, please.
Right.
Um,
That's
I
a
think you
system
have
that
that.
doesn't
Yeah,
I think that's a
yeah,
system that doesn't get the love because
yeah,
of the Sega was kind of behind in getting to the CD and I don't want to interrupt you, but that's a system that doesn't get the love, bro. At
yeah,
all.
yeah. No, absolutely. Um, but I would definitely give it to both of them. I think that again
Okay.
for the creativity reasons, and that way you could have the different because there's so many the different motion engines that you can have.
Right, right.
I think that the 2K developers, or at least the ones from that time period, would be able to give dynamic storylines.
Oh,
The
absolutely. Absolutely.
my player just got arrested at the club after a home game win.
He shot himself in the
Right,
leg leaving the club. Oh wait, that's real life.
right, right. I can't remember which one it was, but for a while, Legends would randomly come back.
So Madden used to do
Like
that
that
too. I
was
miss that.
so
Madden used to do that
right. That
too.
was
Yeah.
so good. Like, oh, looks like Jerry Rice is a free agent. Well, why, yes, I will make my
I
team
would
not suck
love
for a
I would
season.
love to sign him to $40 million a year.
You know
Bring
what?
him
You
to
know
the
what? I
squad.
took. I I think it was. I don't know which Madden was in '98. Maybe it was Madden '98, or I know they changed the name of it every so often. Um, I loved Game Day '98 with Jerome Bettis
Never
on
played
the
it, but
cover.
I remember hearing so many good things from people about that game.
So it was amazing, but you could also spam it. Like when I say spam it, I was able to do towards the end of playing. I was able to do a 15-minute quarter where I could
Wow.
time the spin button, and I could go the entire quarter without being tackled. I would just go in a box on the field, spinning.
No.
Oh, dude, I could. You would be able to spin, and I would just go and I
That's
would do it,
nuts.
and no one could ever. Yeah, for like a whole 15-minute quarter.
That's awesome. Legitly, that's awesome.
What was actually really neat too is if you played just some of the game modes, depending on how you wanted to do your season, they had cards that you can get, but they weren't player cards. They were affect cards, stickier than glue. Wherever your punt landed, it just stopped
That's
right
cool.
there.
That's cool.
100-yard leg, you could kick a field goal from your one if you can line it up correctly. Just stuff like
That's
that
nuts.
that like bends reality, but also makes it,
All right.
oh goodness, did you ever play Cyber Tiger? I'm just jumping at random
No,
here.
I didn't.
Oh, you want to talk about an amazing game? That is the favorite golf game I've ever played with Cyber Tiger.
No, have you ever played Conker's Bad Fur Day?
Yes,
My
love
little
Grand Theft
sister, my
Auto.
little sister loved renting that game. We used to jam on that on the weekends, man.
Um, favorite game of all time for
Quarterback Club,
PlayStation
man. I
2.
forgot about NFL
Ooh,
Quarterback Club.
back club. That was with Brett Favre on the cover, wasn't it?
Yes, it
98.
was. Yes, it was.
Yeah, it
Limp's
was.
coming into the chat with that one. That's a good
Nice,
throwback. I like that.
swinging. Favorite game of all time for the PlayStation 2, though, hands down, as much as I love Final Fantasy 8, was Command and Conquer Red Alert.
See, if I'm gonna go back
That
then,
was
if I'm gonna go back then,
that
because
was the best.
I had the PSP during that era, so I played a lot of games that were out on the PS2, but on the handheld, I gotta go SOCOMs, bro. All the SOCOM games.
Oh, I forgot about them. Those are my other
See,
favorite
I have
favorites.
to like I have to go to them. Just the strategy involved, the planning involved, and rocking out on that. Okay, so here's the next question for you. Like I said, I got questions that are gonna kind of involve some chatter and get us going.
Yeah.
Call of Duty or Battlefield as a whole?
Oh, that's tough. Oh, that's
There's
actually
been
tough.
so many iterations of the games. They've gone in so many different directions. Um,
So I'm gonna give you a split answer for your split question, right?
okay,
Ultimately, it's gonna be Call of Duty,
okay.
just because it's a smoother first-person shooter. They have better diamonds. Um, but if you're talking about probably the coolest aspect for me of a war game, it would have to be Battlefield, just because that you can destroy the environment,
Oh, absolutely.
right?
I think that's a W,
Right.
right?
If I could walk around in Warzone right now with a rocket launcher and I know where a camper's at and I could just destroy the building, right? Or you're panicking, you can make a hole in the wall and jet
Right,
in.
right.
You can't put that just takes tactics and strategy to a whole nother level. And so I think that there's just something to be said about Call of Duty never adopting that premise, right?
See,
And vehicles.
and so I will say
Battlefield is known for vehicles.
I will say that's something that the communities are really split on is the COD community loves that the environment doesn't do that, but the Battlefield community loves that it does. See, I throw it back to those again. I'm with you. I think it's split. I love what Black Ops has done for the story. I love what Modern Warfare has done for the story. From where we started with Call of Duty to where we are now, just an amazing leap, leaps and bounds. Same thing goes for Battlefield. You know, when you think about Battlefield, and then you think about War Hardline, and you think about the different, just the different gameplay that we've had. They've done a lot with their
Mm-hmm.
series, but
Oh yeah.
I'm with you. I think it holds down just for the amount of different games that are out there.
Oh
Call of
my
Duty is
God.
mine as well.
And just the memories, I think from Battlefield, I had more fun playing multiplayer in Battlefield when I did play
Yeah.
it than I did with the Call of Duty before Warzone. 2 second if I could.
Oh, go ahead.
Um,
Go ahead. It's all you, bro.
so this is I can't remember what Battlefield it was. It was the one that had the armored personnel carriers. It was a modern one.
Was it
Um,
Battlefield 4?
Maybe.
It's kind of the one everybody goes
Um,
back to.
yeah. So playing it playing it with my cousin, and we're on a split screen when you can still do that, right?
Right. Right.
And we're playing online multiplayer, so it's great. So he's in the APC, and there's a bunch of us loaded up going towards the objective. And this
Okay.
thing's getting shot to hell, but he's like, stay on, and everyone's like, yeah, we'll do it, right?
Right.
And then this thing's like redlining, and so he's like, we're charging forward, and then at the last second he yells out Satino. He's like, Satino, and he jumps off, and the whole team practically dies,
Okay.
right? Now, Satino, what is that? This was at the same time, and I think I had tears coming out of my eyes at the time, because it was funny then. If you remember, Satino was the Italian cruise boat captain who bailed first and left the ship and was watching it from the shore, that cruise ship.
Hmm.
Do you remember that one? That it broke down,
Can't
it
say I
was
do.
taken on water, it was on
Can't say I do.
fire, like it was a cruise ship that was had to evacuate from the water. And the captain, which name was Satino, this dude was the first one off, and he was actually watching people stranded on the ship from the shore.
Okay.
It was a whole big news thing, but it was just something about that moment. You tell the story, you're like, oh, okay, cool, right? But in the moment, it was just, you're dying laughing
No,
just because of, you know,
everybody has something that
yeah,
catches them or draws them in, bro. And
yeah. Oh, yeah, it was just
that's why I love having these conversations because I could pick a game and I could pick a reason why I am 100% behind a game. and somebody else could come in and say, "Man, I hated that part, but this is," you know what I mean? So, I will
Yeah.
always
So what else?
respect and drive there. Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's all good.
over the years, we've seen gimmicks in games. We've seen the Nintendo gun. We've seen the Nintendo Power Glove. We've seen the Sega CD, attached to the Genesis. You've seen the 64 Rumble Pack, the vibrations because they couldn't get it in the controller, but they had to
Hmm.
get it into some way. We've seen like an extension of games, and I mean by that, we've seen like Disney Infinity, we've seen Skylanders, we've seen Lego Dimensions. Is there one of those style of game editions or console editions, something like that, something like I just mentioned that you played and had an affinity for, or that you saw and were like, damn it, I'm never touching that. Like I can even throw VR into that. You can even throw the PSVR into that if you wanted to. Is there
Um,
is there something like that that kind of catches you as for a good or bad?
I think something that I thought really um, had a great potential that Mrs. Titan actually got into was the Amiibos for the Nintendo
There you
Switch.
go. Yep, yep. See, I love
The
the concepts of those.
Yeah, the concept's amazing, right? But because the cool part is it doesn't have it to where you could put any character in any game, and I get that's
Correct.
a far
Correct.
reach, But how great would it be for you to be able to put Donkey Kong in Madden with a helmet on just because you had the amiibo,
So the biggest,
even
yes,
if it's just an
yes.
aesthetic, you
So the
know?
biggest reason I keep my consoles, I have every console I've ever owned, with all the cables connected. When I was living overseas and when I was in Virginia, they all were hooked up and working at one point or another. Um, I keep all those systems because of those peripherals. The 64 and putting a rumble pack into the controller and playing Mario Kart without one versus with one is amazing, right? Um,
Well, you still use your Game Genie,
right, exactly. The Game Genie always gets plugged in, bro. You got to remember
the,
that.
the Shark,
Taking
Game
the
Shark.
taking the PS3 out and putting in the Disney Infinity 1.0 disc and grabbing those classic characters and running through the toy box. Same thing with the PS4. Like it's not going to vanish from my boxes or my setup because
Yeah,
I want little man to check out the Star Wars and the Marvel Disney Infinity because I have all those characters. That was something I put my time and resources in was Disney Infinity. I never
yeah,
really got. I always wanted to get into Lego Dimensions, never did. I always wanted to get in. I still want to this day to find a Power Glove somewhere. That's the one thing I would love to have. Um,
oh,
is a Power Glove. But
yeah.
is okay. So so we're gonna go. We're gonna shoot. We're gonna start shooting some classics and characters now. Were you Sonic or were you Mario?
Sonic.
I was Sonic as well. Like I said, that love for the Genesis. Okay.
Shameless plug. Siphon Filter was another one that was ahead of its time that I'd love to see a remake
Metal,
done of.
Metal, the original Metal Gear Solid. I didn't like
Yes.
Phantom Pain, but I love the original
No,
one.
the original one was good. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so Limp says he's Sonic, and he's got my next question. He's throwing up Crash. So were you Crash Bandicoot or Spyro the Dragon?
Spyro.
Really? I
Love me
never
some
never
Spyro.
played Spyro. I was massive into Crash.
Yeah.
Wow, I never knew that.
Yeah.
Okay, Nathan Drake or Lara Croft?
Lara Croft.
Hands down, right? Playing the old obstacle course at her mansion and locking the butler in the freezer. I
Butler.
think that's what
I was
everybody did,
about you
right?
beat me to it. If
I
you
think
didn't
that's
lock the butler in the closet, you
I
didn't
think
you
that's what
didn't play
everybody did, bro.
Tomb Raider.
I think that's what
Yeah.
everybody did. That's hands down the best thing you could possibly want and imagine in those games. Okay, so last kind of setup is for you. Is there any honorable mentions for a console that we either haven't talked about or haven't shown enough love that you have an affinity for?
I wouldn't say I had an affinity, but a console we don't really talk about that didn't get enough love was the Nintendo GameCube.
So I played Madden on the GameCube for 3 years, and that includes those greatest show on turf years for the Rams. And I had the Eddie George cover, and that was yes, card collecting on the GameCube. I'm gonna let you take it away, but that's what I did.
Okay. Best game on the GameCube for me. Um, is Luigi's Mansion, by
I
far, the
I
first iteration.
I own it for my GameCube, but I've never played it.
You are missing out. Um, there's just something gratifying about sucking a ghost, right, from Mario and just sucking it in your little vacuum,
I legitimately
right?
want a Nintendo Switch just to play all these games I missed on all the
Oh,
Nintendo platforms.
I've watched Mrs. Titan play Luigi's Mansion 3, and it's just so much fun, right? Because
That's amazing.
coming up in games, you have that unique perspective where the ghost from Mario has been constantly following me when my back's turned, tormenting me. I can't kill with fireballs, but now with Luigi, who's a coward the whole game, by the way, which is super sad. Um, Taking him and just sucking in the spirits and whacking them on the floor. There's just something gratifying about that, like just childhood
That
revenge
sounds
on the
amazing,
bully.
bro. That sounds
It's
amazing.
so good. It's so good.
So for
It
me,
is.
I throw this not to a console but to a peripheral for a console. So I think the PS4 era, the Xbox One PS4 is going to go down as one of the most influential generations of the video game console life cycle, right? Um, we had them for what, 5, 6 years, seven, almost 7 years. These consoles were around, and we got a ton of games, ton of remasters. But for me, I throw it to the PSVR, the PlayStation Virtual Reality headset. Um,
Hmm.
I I pre-ordered that headset, and I actually got paid $5 from GameStop to buy the headset brand new, plus the Batman game. And the first night I had that hooked up and was in, I was Batman, bro. I was standing in a mirror in the headset, and I was Batman. Like every kid's dream is to be a superhero, and to be able to look in this headset, and I'm Spider-Man in some sequences, I'm Superman, Green Lantern, Batman, like
I,
that to
I,
me, being able to sit in the cockpit of a car and turn my head right and turn my head left and see 180 degrees,
yeah,
that's the future. Like I don't care what anybody says about,
sure.
consoles always upgrading, PCs always upgrading. I want something to where I'm really feeling like I'm there. So I don't know if you remember the movie First Kid with Sinbad, where
Yes.
he was the Secret Service agent to the president's kid. Now,
Yeah.
this movie has hooked me on VR since I was a kid, bro. I saw that kid get into the mall and had that VR headset toward the end of the movie, and I shit you not, that's why I bought. That's why I bought a PSVR. That's why
That's
I
awesome.
play the PSVR. That's why I love having my parents or Jen's parents over and stick them in the headset and just get laughs out of them in it. Um,
Yeah.
I wish that got more love. I wish that got more from developers. I wish they had more games. I understand the whys and the why nots, but
Yeah.
that's mine that I wish got more love.
For me, it would be SOCOM. I know they came out with several games.
So that was
For me, it
going.
was
Yeah,
SOCOM.
that was gonna be my next question.
So,
Was what game do you think
SOCOM 2.
is yours that honorable mention for you that didn't get the love or you think needs to be shown more love?
Absolutely, and that's SOCOM 2. As everyone talks about it with affinity and fond memories and warm talk, but like there was just something super cool about that game, and I think it was ahead of its time because you had the headset, right? And that
Right.
was, well, you didn't have the VR, but that was the closest that you got to being a Navy SEAL when you were 10,
100%, bro.
right?
100%
Right.
with
You
you
could be,
there.
Bravo, Stealth 2, Charlie, set, Overwatch, right? And all of a sudden, and they'll go and they'll do it, Stealth,
Yep.
you could do that, and you could take 2, 3, 4 hours on a mission and just execute this beautiful strategic perfection, as much as you could in that game.
Right.
Um, and there's just something super beautiful about being able to give those voice commands on a headset and having a team do it. And I think that's something that could easily be put in the 5 that probably won't.
So,
You could do that. You could pick whatever flavor and you can just add military commands. You pull up the map, you have the points, you have the
yep.
commands.
Yep.
I don't have to worry about pinging it or doing a selection menu. I can tell Bravo element to beat feet to Foxtrot, set
Absolutely.
Overwatch, set sniper
Absolutely.
Overwatch on this building, and you identify this building from your grid map, and you've got the Overwatch. There's just something super great about that.
So I've got a game that just kind of released at the wrong time in the world. I don't know if you remember the great PlayStation outage. 63 days we didn't have PSN during the PS3 era. And the day the outage happened, Medal of Honor released a brand new game on the PS3, and that game was online, didn't really have a campaign. It was kind of the precursor to what is now like Destiny 2 style gameplay, where it's always connected. Um, the game released and there was no PSN to hook it up to, and the game just died. And I was so looking forward to that game, and I wish I could go back and just make sure the PlayStation Network stays up and stays working. That's a game I would love to just go back to and play. I feel like we got like I said, my love and my affinity for the Medal of Honor series kind of feels like it got gypped there, you know.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So
There's so many good things about that.
So the last question I have for you kind of runs on this
Mm.
gameplay. Is there a certain developer that you will come back to and always play their games, always look into their games, always support? Is there a certain developer that is always going to be able to take your money?
Man, there's a couple of them that I
What's going on, Austin? How you doing, brother?
hey, what's up,
Limp.
Mr. Austin?
That's a big family game for me as well, man. Like I said, I grew up with the affinity
So
of my dad playing the PC Medal of Honor. So
yeah,
you know, Allied Assault, Pacific Assault, and all the different games. So like to me, that series holds a nice heartstring for me. So sorry, man, didn't mean to interrupt you, but
no, you're good. When the movement strikes, man, it's just there's so many. You know what I mean?
I mean, do you want me to take this?
Infin
Because I have an answer, and can you kind of see where I'm going
Go
with
ahead. Why
this?
don't you lead it? Because
Okay.
I'm torn for several.
So for me, it's a developer that initially got a lot of love, and as the games came out, they didn't do their due diligence and develop an engine. They didn't do their due diligence and make the gameplay work for the consumer. I'm talking about Telltale Games.
Oh
We got The Walking
yes.
Dead's. You know, we had The Wolf Among Us. We had Guardians of the Galaxy. We had the Batman series. Um, and initially, Walking Dead, man, won so many awards for them. They used to do Sam and Max back in the day, and I played them on the PS3, and I loved them. And that's why when they announced Walking Dead, I was all about it. I loved, and I still love playing the Telltale games. I still love going back to the Telltale games and playing those. Um, so for me,
Okay.
I just wish that developer would have taken the time to develop the engine and give us them better, you know, the better experience because ultimately they filed for bankruptcy and went out of business, and now there's a different conglomerate in charge of Telltale Games, and they're coming back. I'm hopeful. You know, I'm not as gung ho about getting into their games now, but I'm very hopeful for what they bring to the table.
Okay. So if we're going off of that, and I appreciate you taking the lead, I was able to sort
Yeah, sorry.
myself
Now you
out
kind of
too.
understand. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I understand better.
I know
So
it's a
for
pop of
me,
the question like that. So
no, that's okay. It's easy. It's Westwood Studios. So Westwood Studios did several things, but they did the Command and Conquer series, and that was by
oh,
far
okay, okay. I see
one of
this now.
the most fun series that I would buy whatever came out with,
Okay,
right? And I say that with, um, and they went under, right?
okay.
They got bought out, and then the studio went under, and it just you know what I mean.
Yep.
Um, but that game was, was so much fun, right? Because you could play, as the not Soviets or the not American Americans,
Right.
right? And there's just each had their own different technology, um, and you could, man, I remember I was able. This was in the time with like the PlayStation 2s or the PlayStation 1s really, where you could hook up and play if you had more than one TV and more than one PlayStation and sitting there and playing an all-out, war for 3, 4 hours,
That sounds like so much
building
fun.
up, building up a base and attacking your buddy and just checking the line. There's just so much you could do.
That sounds like so much
But
fun.
it was, and you can't find a Command and Conquer now. Save your life,
I think
right?
that
Or
I think what you
emulator.
get the closest to now is Civilization, right? You'd have to play like a
It's
game like Civilization, but it's not the same. I know it's not the
it's
same, but
it's
it's the
not
most
even.
similar thing you're going to get to it, right?
Um, it's hard, right? Because all you would get was a mobile construction unit, and you'd set your base down wherever. You'd have to
That's right,
model it
awesome. LAN
or
parties all the way, bro. LAN parties
yes,
all the way.
yes, absolutely. Um, but for me, it would be Westwood Studios.
Okay.
They fizzled out. The quality was there, and I think it would have just been nothing but amazing had they have been able to stuck around. But they got bought out, um, and after they got bought out, they they just never came back. And the quality was there, and the love was there, and they died too young as a studio.
So I have one more question that I didn't write down. One that kind of has been bumping in my head since we started this tonight. Is there a system that you didn't get a chance to play that you know you missed out on that you would love to go back to that era and make sure you owned it and played the games on that system? Is there a system like that for you?
Um, Probably the original Xbox.
Okay, I can respect that. I bought my Xbox at a pawn shop back during the 360 era, so I can respect that.
So
Any
yeah, so
particular
I mean,
reason why?
I was never able to get an Xbox One or play some of those games. That's why, like when I finally got a 360, I think it was, I went and I bought the whole Gears of War series that was
Yep.
out up until that point.
See, I did that on the Xbox
Some
One
of
because I had never played the Gears or the Halo franchises. Yep. Yep, I'm with you there. So,
yeah,
so for me, I throw it back to the PS2 because, like I said, I never owned a PS2. The one I got to play it was right before I joined the military when my dad and sister had a system, and really the only thing we really played that I got to play was Guitar Hero and Rock Band.
Guitar
I
Hero, the
think
original was so good.
those games had their time and they were amazing to play and just have friends over. Awesome throws in here. He says the Dreamcast. He'd love to go back and check out the Dreamcast. Um,
It was yeah, the
there's some
Dreamcast
good
was
there's
great.
some hidden gems on the Dreamcast. It just unless you played them, you don't know about them.
Yeah, absolutely,
So
absolutely.
that's gonna do it for episode 6 of King's Corner. I hope you guys enjoyed and kind of learned a little bit about us. I love that we had the community talking with us today, Titan. This is amazing, bro. I love
Oh, it was
hearing your
so
guys'
good.
I love hearing your guys' past history with games, and so keep it coming. Definitely stay tuned for more. I do think I have a topic for next week, so I think next week's podcast is going to be about the Marvel Cinematic Universe up through Phase 4. So kind of through Infinity War, and we'll include Spider-Man. We'll include Spider-Man, and we'll talk about those. But we're gonna talk our favorites in the franchise, kind of how the MCU kind of feels at that point and moving forward. Um, I
Mm,
think that's a good topic, Titan. I think that's a good one to really step into next week. What do you think?
I do, I do, and it's it's a good episode when I'm sitting here and my brain's still like, but you didn't even talk about like Dragon Age Inquisition. I'm like, you're right, brain, we didn't, we sure didn't, because we're
we
stopping
absolutely
now.
we absolutely didn't. And then, like I said, there's things. So leave us comments down below in the video if you guys are watching this on YouTube. Make sure y'all are dropping us comments down below on games that maybe we didn't get a chance to check out, or games that you fell in love with and hold near and dear to your heart. Consoles that are kind of held near and dear to your heart as well. Let us know down below. But I appreciate you guys being here, Titan. Man, any words of appreciation for everybody here?
Oh man, you just it's such a great following. I've loved talking to Limp, and I know Awesome's there, and it's just such a great group that joins just any random time, right? And that's a testament
Right.
to the quality of the followers that you've built, right? And the
Appreciate it,
love of
man.
the small streamer community. Because I know when you pop into their streams, I'd like to think that it's a a cool thing, and then they
Appreciate it,
pop in
brother.
here, and there's just no lack of quality
Absolutely.
of conversation, or just it's just a good group of folks, which is
So
which is nice.
if y'all are watching here live on Twitch, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being part of the chat today. If y'all are watching this video on YouTube, be sure to drop us a comment down below on, like I said, your favorite game, your favorite console of all time. Give me a little reason why. I like to hang out in the comments. I'll be responding to some messages down there. We're still trying to get tightening over there to kind of chat with y'all all y'all as well, but that's coming, I promise. Um, Be sure to drop a like on the video if you guys enjoyed the content and want more King's Corner episodes. Appreciate y'all being here. But as always, I'm AC Kingpin 27 for my man Fighting Titan. We're signing off. Y'all have a good day. We'll catch you next time.